زبان به ستایش تو رسد؟ کدام خرد صفت تو را برتابد؟ کدام شکر با نیکویی تو برابر آید؟ کدام بنده به گزاردن عبادت به تو رسد؟ خدایا از ما هر که را بینی معیوب بینی، هر که را بینی همه با تقصیر بینی. با این همه باران رحمت تو باز نیستد و جز گل کرم نروید. الهی چه شود که دلم را بگشایی و از خود مرهمی بر جانم نهی؟ من سود چون جویم که دو دستم از مایه تهی، مگر که به نفس خود افکنی مرا در روز بهی. الهی نسیمی از باغ دوستی دمید، دل را فدا کردیم. بویی از خزینه دوستی یافتیم، به پادشاهی بر سر عالم نگاه کردیم. برقی از مشرق حقیقت تافت، آب و گل کم پنداشتیم. الهی هر شادی که بی توست اندوه است، هر منزلی که نه در راه توست زندان است. هر که نه در طلب توست ویران است. الهی یک نفس با تو به 2 گیتی ارزان است، یک دیدار از تو به هزاران جان راودان است. پروردگارا یاد تو دلها را زنده کرد و تخم مهر افکند. درخت شادی رویانید و میوه آزادی داد. الهی به تو پناه میبریم. مستی سلامت می کند، پنهان پیامت می کند. اون کو دلش را برده ای، جان هم غلامت می کند. ای نیست کرده هست را، بشنو سلام مست را. مستی که هر دو دست را پابند دامت می کند. سلام بر شما هموطنان عزیز، امیدوارم که خوب و خوش و سلامت باشید. به برنامه عرفان و ادب خوش آمدید. این برنامه متعلق به شما همه عزیزان است. تمام عزیزان از هر فرهنگ، از هر مذهب و از هر کجای ایران که تعلق دارید. خیلی خوش آمد به برنامه ما امشب مهمان برنامه ما یه خانم خیلی خیلی هنرمنده به اسم
I'm Luana Ethan.
Luana. You're very welcome to our show.
Thank you.
And I would like you to talk about flute. Beautiful flute that we heard
Yes.
early on.
There's a lot to say. Any specifics?
Well, first of all, how long ago were you introduced to flute?
15 years ago.
And what happened?
I had heard the story of a native fellow, a Native American Indian fellow who had been on the streets for 17 years, drinking and drugs. And one night he had a dream that woke his soul up, so to speak. And he went back to his elders to learn the ways of the Native Americans again, what they call the Red Road. And I happened to hear him play the flute one night. A friend of mine took me to a concert in Toronto when I was visiting. And the sound of the flute just penetrated my heart so strongly. And he was self-taught. That was a part of his prayer and his meditation, to heal himself. And so the next day I went out and bought a $5 flute and started playing in nature, seeking my own prayer and my own language of music. And I played a bamboo flute for 4 years. And then I found my first native flute. I saw it in a store, and it was very expensive. It was $1,000 in Switzerland. And a friend of mine was there with me when I saw this flute, and I thought, okay, at the end of my work season I can go buy it. And I was having a bit of a troubled time where I was working, and one day he came and picked me up, and he handed me the flute. He says, "Here, you're worth it." And that was my very first native flute. It was given to me by a dear friend.
Now,
Yeah.
who taught you to play flute?
Just my heart and nature. I've never learned music. I've never studied with anybody or tried to learn through books or anything. I just I had a lot of prayers that words didn't fit for, and so the flute became my language of calling and receiving prayer from life, from God.
So when you play
Yeah.
flute, do you just create it?
Everything is in the moment.
In the moment.
In the moment of what the feeling of my spirit is, and the feeling of the environment and the people in the space that I'm sharing. I just pray and say, I ask that the sounds come through that are most serving for everybody.
So is this fair to say you connect to God through your music?
That's my experience. Yes.
And can you explain to us the feeling? I mean, what happens when you get drunk? Well, I mean drunk
Yeah.
by the spirit.
Yeah, it's like my personality disappears and I just feel peace, and I feel grace, and I feel inspiration, I feel joy and beauty and humility, humbleness.
This program was brought to you by A Women's Touch. Quality construction at an affordable price.
Now, when you play flute, how do your birds react?
Oh,
I know
they
you
love
have
it.
3 birds, right?
3 lovebirds.
Do they sing with you?
Yeah, they love it. And my first lovebird, Rafaela, when I first started playing, she actually started like moving and dancing in her cage, and out. I let them out to fly too, but they love it.
Because as you know, in Persian tradition, especially the music, there is a relationship between nightingale and the flower. and there's a dialogue happens between these two, and that's how a musician picks up the note. And if you notice somebody playing zarb or playing tambour, or they look at each other, there is a question and answer, or there is a dialogue going on.
There's a dialogue,
So
yeah.
for many Sufis or many musicians, the inspiration comes from the relationship in natural world between,
Yeah.
especially birds.
And that's what taught me to play the flute, was my relationship to the natural world. I'd go playing in the woods or by the river or by the ocean or in the mountains.
And do you play any other instrument?
Native American drum, djembe, and I'm just learning the guitar.
Well, I've seen you playing, I went to some Sufi concert where I met you, you were playing. How do you relate to Rumi? Maybe that's one way, because everybody knows Rumi. So.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know Rumi until I moved to Vancouver 7 years ago, and I was seeing all these writings, Rumi. I'm like, who's Rumi? And then it was when I met Ruth Raziel, who I've done several Rumi evenings with, that I really got to know Rumi, and it just speaks from my own heart. You know, it's like, it's just beautiful, very inspirational and very universal.
Now, you also dance, right?
Yes.
Can you explain, because is it sama or is it something that you created yourself?
The dance that I teach is something that was created through me. I was inspired to do this. I've danced my whole life. I did jazz and ballet for 6 years, and tap dance for 2, improvisational dance for 7 years, trained in Israel, Germany, and Toronto with a teacher, and other forms of self-explorational dance. So I've danced my whole life, and now I've, in this past year, created a form of expressional dance, meditative dance, combining everything that I've learned from my own inspiration and insight, and those that I've drawn on from the teachings of others that helped move and shape my life in a good way.
So you're creating something that basically every culture is involved. There is music from every
culture, from every place on the globe. Yeah.
So as someone who is on a spiritual journey, how do you see the world, and what would you like to see happen?
Oh, I was talking to a friend yesterday about what my idea of a global community is, and it would be that when there's a problem somewhere, everything else stops until we get the problem solved. So no more Seinfeld and Frasier and all these TV shows and all these things to distract us from everything that's going on, but to really be a community and, you know, be engaged with helping in some way. I mean, it's a long ways away because there's a big mess right now, but I know there have been smaller communities that have lived in this earth, and they've done that in that way. And if we can do it in a bigger perspective, like psychotherapy for the whole planet kind of thing, you know, and just really learn to embody the higher nature of our being fully.
How would you define your relationship to God as an artist?
Well, I'd say the art that comes through me is God. When I was 8 years old, I started praying just on my own. I have no religious family or anything like that. And I've just always prayed, and I've touched different religions, or they've touched me, you know. But a religion for me is just a framework getting us to a place, and then from that place we meet God.
You told me that when you were a kid there was some rough time, harsh time, and obviously you were praying.
Yes.
Now these prayers, do you think they were answered?
Oh yeah, they're always answered. Yeah. Yeah, my life has been full with grace. With every bump or plummet that I've had in my life, there's always been something or someone or something has come in to lift me back up and keep my faith growing stronger. Yeah.
So, what is going to happen next for you? I mean, where are you going in your journey? Where is the place to be?
Manifesting love more and more with everything I do, and just serving and evolving and becoming better at being a being in service of life. Be with the dance or the music or the massage work I do. I do many different things that I do my best to support life to grow positively.
As somebody who believes in God and trusts in God, are you happy?
I'd say, in essence, yes. When my personality gets troubled with things, yeah, then I might not. But then I always go back and, oh, what am I doing? Because I know in my heart I'm very full, yeah.
Well, I must thank you for joining us. Hope we see more of you.
Thank you.
And beautiful food.
Thank you for having me here. Yeah.
Hello Vancouver, my name is Moa Barit. We have a very, very special and talented guest on our show today. He's an upcoming artist who's been creating a lot of buzz in Vancouver. Please help me welcome Moreza. Hello.
Thanks for having me over.
Well, thank you for joining us. Why don't we start by having you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I was born in Iran, and I moved to Canada, Vancouver, when I was 15. And currently I'm studying sound engineering and business.
Excellent, excellent. Now, how long have you been playing the guitar?
It's about 5 years now. Yeah.
And was there a special source and inspiration that made you say, that's for me?
It's quite an interesting story. It was my sister, she was thinking about buying a guitar and start playing. So we got a guitar and I immediately felt it and started practicing, but she didn't continue.
Well, excellent. So something great came out of it, right? Okay, excellent. Now, his CD is called Once Upon a Love. It's a great CD, and two of the many songs on the CD, one of them is called Oceano Bailando. Now, why don't you tell us what that means?
Oceano Bailando means dancing ocean. It was the first song I ever wrote, and my mother picked the name, actually. Yeah.
Oh, excellent. So she was kind of an inspiration with that song. Now, I remember when I was listening to your CD, I was listening to Field of Pain. Now, tell us what that's all about.
Field of Pain goes back to the time I was going through a lot of depression and painful moments in my life. And it was during those days I wrote this song, and I called it Field of Pain.
Okay. Now, what we're going to do is just show you a couple of clips of Moreza's songs of the CD Once Upon a Love. Stay with us. working on your second album as we speak. How is that album going to be different from this one?
This second album I'm currently working on is going to be different in terms of the arrangement, because I'm taking a lot of different elements, and it's going to be a little bit more upbeat, and I'm trying to use a lot of Persian instruments as well.
What kind of Persian instruments?
The Persian flute, it's called ney, and also daf is a beautiful sounding percussion instrument, and probably a few more like santur and tar. Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. I would like to thank you so much for coming on our show
My
today.
pleasure.
I thoroughly enjoyed it, as I'm sure our viewers all did as well. Thank you again. And I would like to thank you for joining us on our show today, and I hope just as much as I've enjoyed Moraza, you have as well. See you next time.